Drink a pint of whiskey and do a shot of beer.
Yeah, Mercury Brothers, that's sort of our more hard-hitting, like indie rock project. I'm also in a band called EnDelirium, which is with some old friends, songs we've been working on for, upwards of 10 years, and then sort of fizzled out and then reconnected, and that allowed us to, really take some chances with different genres and be a little more experimental. And I'm also in a band with my actual brother, Dave, called the Apy Brothers. That's more acoustic oriented, also featuring our friend Evan Woods, and we do 3-part harmonies, sort of traditional folk style, but still original music.
Drink a pint of whiskey and do a shot of beer. Smoke another cigarette until your head is clear. You want whiskey.
The contrast between all those projects really allows me to throw out a wide net musically within the community and give me a lot of opportunities. I feel like the first thing that really occurred to me of why I enjoyed it was because it was when it switched from just, being a kid sort of singing and liking music and it being fun to getting a little older and dealing with stress and then realizing that it was a true tool to help with mental health and emotions, even at a young age. Being able to sing your heart out and belt things out, really, it just allows you to have a cooler mind and get a little more creative in spite of some of, the stresses of being an adolescent and a younger person.
I just wanna
I've lived in Little Silver for my whole life, 28 years. There's a couple times where I've moved away for, periods of time at friends' houses and stuff like that. But, being from around here and trying to be a musician, Asbury Park, there's a mystery to it. It's sort of the top of the hill, so to speak, at least in this area. It always seemed more accessible than Brooklyn and New York, even though those were also the top tiers of where you would want to play. And so I always considered it a gateway of, you get your chops here and then you set sail, so to speak, and start going on tour and doing things like that. So this was always definitely an incubator in my mind. Again, I think it's that accessibility. There's this comfortability in being yourself. I honestly think it's sort of from Bruce Springsteen's personality rubbing off so much in this area. He was so comfortable with himself, so comfortable with, like speaking out against conformity and things like that. But, that sort of spirit has just like lingered here and, it's just part of the town. There's a couple covers that we do. We try to make them all sort of our own. There's some heavy influences that we have between Radiohead and Elliott Smith. I mean, the Beatles are my favorite band. I know it's a little cliche, but they created a lifetime's worth of music in like 8 years. I think a lot of people take that for granted because they're so overplayed and so popular. Yeah, a lot of that comes through in our style. We do some Black Keys and Modest Mouse is a big one. Those influences are definitely there, but going, like as you go on, you really want to stick to originals a lot.
Who came here to have fun? Better break it down.
It's actually pretty easy for me to find inspiration. I have a harder time writing, sort of like giddy, like happy music. A lot of that bittersweet stuff just comes naturally, and I need to express it. So I sort of reach a fever pitch and then it's obvious songwriting time. So. If I have some lyrics that I really think are good, I want to utilize them, then I'll sit down and I'll really put in the time to figure out the right progression or the right, the right riff that complements that emotion. Like if it's a sort of sad, somber lyrics, like, you're rolling with like minors and stuff. And then on the other side, sometimes I'll just be writing something and I'm like, oh, like musically, and I'll be like, that's great. And then I'll start to write the lyrics based off of that. And that's usually more of a toss-up, so to speak. I prefer to write the lyrics first and then add the music, but sometimes it's just lightning in a bottle and you just got to run with it. And a lot of those songs usually come out really well. Those are some of the more popular ones, but you can't really control that or like bank on it, so it's fun. I try to touch on the extremes of emotion, really. I think those are the most interesting. Like anything right in the middle, like contentedness, like I don't find super inspiring. So, and I think a lot of people are looking for like a way to relate to each other on some of these more serious spectrums between, you know, being super uncontrollably happy versus, you know, just the deepest depression. Like I think those are the strongest emotions that everybody can relate to. It's cool when you can see people from totally different communities and backgrounds connecting on these similar, familiar ideals. That always feels really good.
I just wanna dance, I just wanna dance, I just wanna dance. I just wanna dance, I just wanna dance, I just wanna dance. Thank you so much for actively participating.